Hello Gemini, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Gemini. Let's jump on in. We're going to start with looking at overall energy for this connection through oracle cards, and then we're going to dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress in the reading. So let's start, Gemini, with your overall energy on your side of this connection. This is Gemini's energy toward the person they're dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. Never again. Changes will be made. I am their light. And it still hurts. All right. Interesting. I feel like in this connection, you were someone that was very much, a light for the person that you were dealing with. This does feel past. It does feel like this is a past connection, not someone you are currently dealing with. But what I'm pulling for is who you're dealing with and need to learn the most from right now. So that doesn't mean that they are currently in your life, but the lessons can still be there. So I feel like that's what this is really talking about, because this never again is about putting an end to a cycle. A lot of times we face similar dynamics in relationships with people so that we can grow, heal, evolve, or make changes in some way so that we can attract and sustain healthier relationships. And I feel like this person was a huge lesson for you in some sort of way, because I do feel like with this I am their light card, I feel like you showed up with a lot of light, a lot of love, a lot of empathy in this, and I feel like you ended up getting very hurt, almost very screwed over in this in some way. And obviously the last thing that you want is for that to happen again, right? The last thing that you want is to repeat this pattern. So in some way there's a cycle that's needing to be addressed, and this might be in regard to this connection. It could be in regard to just relationships that you've experienced as a whole too. A lot of times we end up we can have different relationships with different people, but the dynamics and the cycles can still be the same. Or sometimes we experience the same dynamics and cycles in one person who has a tendency to leave our life and come back and things of that nature. But let's see, this person's energy toward you, Gemini. Options are kept open. Stand your ground. I feel like there's one more here. Ignoring the pain. Yeah, lessons are being taught. So this person, I feel like they never fully prioritized you in this connection. I feel like they never fully committed. They never fully prioritized you. It's definitely a very wishy-washy energy. Now with this ignoring the pain card, I feel like this person is very driven by their wounding, very driven by their past pain, their past traumas, their insecurities, things of that nature. And this stand your ground card makes me feel like this person is very stubborn in addition to that, which can make things really difficult. When you're dealing with someone who isn't able to be aware of the ways in which their traumas or insecurities affect other people, the way that their actions from a place of trauma or insecurity affects other people. And then in addition to that, they kind of like double down and are like, no, there's nothing wrong. I don't need to change, whatever the case might be. Then you're kind of dealing with somebody who isn't willing to really do the work or to look within themselves and say, yes, there's ways that I need to grow. And the underlying is that lessons are being taught, but it kind of feels like this person is like sticking their fingers in their ears and going, la, 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 la. I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn. I don't want to grow. I don't want to heal, because it's hard. It's hard to do that. And it requires a lot of feeling. It requires a lot of facing pain, facing past trauma, things of those nature that it feels like this person really struggles to do. So this options are kept open card obviously kind of has me a little skeptical. Like, obviously that's not cool. You definitely deserve someone who is fully committed to you, who chooses you, who makes you feel like you are chosen, who you don't have to second guess or question all the time. And I feel like in this connection, you were kind of dealing with someone that maybe you never felt fully emotionally safe with. Like, you were always wondering, are they going to show up? Are they going to text? Are they going to call? Like, are they going to do the things they say they're going to do? Can I fully be myself around them? Or am I always worried about rejection or always worried about pushing them away? It's kind of like walking on eggshells in a sense. And I feel like in this connection, that was something that you maybe really struggled with. Truth of the connection between Gemini and this person. I like when the cards turn all the way around or hit the table. That didn't feel intentional. I didn't even get a full glimpse of what it was. You didn't mean it. Ooh, okay. Detour. Okay. So there is a cycle. I know I already said this, but yeah, because then you have the changes will be made card. And then someone has unmet needs and someone is unhappy. So this connection, or the cycle that exists within this connection and maybe even outside of it, but like just in your love life in general, is something that is really blocking you from being able to receive the love that you deserve. And I feel like this connection is pushing you to see things that need to be seen in some way so that you can break out of this cycle. A lot of times, like I'll see people who like have been in, relationship after relationship where they get cheated on or where they get left or, abandoned in some way. And it's like, oh, people always leave or people always cheat or no one is, no one's emotionally available. And that's actually not true. You might just be being driven into some similar dynamic for some reason. Now, I feel like specifically with this person, with the you didn't mean it card, I feel like there was this tendency to kind of look past or maybe even justify a lot of their actions. And we tend to do that when we really love someone. We kind of, allow them to get away with a lot. I feel like that did happen. It's like this person was able to get away with a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't have allowed other people in your past to get away with. But I feel like a big part of that was because you really loved and cared for them and had a lot of empathy for them, right? We started out this reading with like, I am their light. Like, you showed up with so much love and so much empathy and so much understanding. Maybe it was easy for you to kind of see ways that this person has been hurt in the past or ways in which, because again, there's some past stuff that's causing this person to behave a certain way. They're being very driven by wounding, and maybe you had a deep understanding for that and you were able to really kind of almost like justify it. Yeah, I know I already said that, but that kind of seems to be the word. But then in the process, like you were unhappy, your needs were really unmet. And it's like the focus was very much on this person and making sure that they were happy and that, their needs were met so that they didn't run away or they didn't, self-sabotage or whatever the case is. But in the process of that, I feel like there was some self-abandoning here. And I feel like that's what's really needing to be looked at. So I can tell this reading is going to get deep. Okay. Overall theme of this reading for Gemini. Overall theme of this reading for Gemini, please. synchronicity. Yeah. So it feels like you might be consistently very drawn to this connection and to this person, maybe through signs, synchronicity, seeing their name everywhere and kind of consistently feeling very drawn back to them. And I feel like there's a reason for that, because this really feels like Spirit is trying to drive you to some sort of deeper understanding of what really happened in this connection. You have this friendship card too, which might mean that, because then there's the patience and then there's the know your worth. It's almost like there was this tendency to accept what this person would give you, even though it wasn't what you wanted or what you desired, kind of hoping for change or waiting on things to get better, or waiting on different, like deeper commitment of some sort. It does feel like you were kind of treated like someone who you weren't very prioritized in this person's lives, like maybe treated like an option. And I'm not saying you were, that like you were taken advantage of. I feel like that it would be natural for you to feel that way. But I do very much feel like this person struggles with commitment on in a deeper capacity. And I feel like that created a lot of issues here. So I feel like there's a lot that's going to unfold in this reading for sure. I do feel like one of the things that is going to be required is, being open to look at this from a different perspective. I feel like when people hurt us, we have a right to be so angry, and anger is really healthy because it can be really healthy, because it can start the process of change. It can, when we feel angry, we start saying something needs to change. We're typically angry about some sort of injustice or some way that we feel that we've been dealt an unfair hand. But anger can start to be really unhealthy whenever we get stuck there, because when we stay angry without looking at the lessons and the healing and the growth that it's asking us to do, we might actually keep ourselves stuck in attracting what makes us angry. And I'm not saying that like your anger is not justified or that it shouldn't be felt, but I do feel like there's something about looking at this from a different perspective to kind of help you heal and move forward and ultimately attract relationships that you are very deserving of, that you're capable of having. So let's look, Gemini, at your side of this. This is Gemini's side of the connection toward the person they are dealing with. The Moon. Oh, yeah. Okay, Seven of Wands in reverse. The Ace of Wands. The Ace of Swords in reverse. Upright reverse, upright reverse. The Hermit. Okay. The Five of Cups. Ooh, the Temperance in reverse. I feel like I need one more. Pulling a little bit more cards than usual. Okay, Two of Cups, Knight of Pentacles. Okay, yeah. And then there's the Ten of Cups in reverse. All right. Let's break this down. All right, so with the Moon and the Seven of Wands in reverse card, this is definitely something that needs to be addressed, because I feel like this person sparks a lot of fear in you, and not in the sense that you're afraid of them, but more so in the sense that like you're afraid of what you won't be able to have if it's not them, which I feel like that there's like this attachment here, this attachment to I need them to choose me, I need them to love me, I need them to value me, because if they don't, then I'm not going to be chosen, loved, or valued. Like I'm never going to have the love that I want. I'm never going to have the love that I desire. And that puts you in a position of not setting as strong of boundaries. And this goes back to what I was saying about accepting a lot more than you typically would. And I feel like it's because, especially with the Ace of Wands, and then you have the Ace of Swords in reverse, I feel like the feelings are so strong here, or were so strong, that it almost clouded your judgment a little bit. And it's not to say that you were wrong in the good that you saw or in what you desired out of this, but I do feel like there was a little bit of like maybe seeing through rose-colored glasses or seeing them through the lens of their potential, which ultimately led to disappointment when they weren't that, especially if you kind of were hanging on, waiting on them to choose you, waiting on them to love you, waiting on them to value you, and that never happened. Because I feel like there's a lot of frustration in this energy about how things played out, and you have a right to feel frustrated. Okay, I'm not taking away from that, but I do feel like one of the things that needs to be addressed is the mirror, because there is really heavy mirroring that I feel in this connection about like what this person is pulling out within you. Other people are always going to be a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. And when we view other people as separate from us, we miss the lesson. When we start viewing our relationships with other people as a reflection of our relationship with ourselves, we start getting a little bit more clear on the purpose of certain things. When we look at other people and we say, you didn't choose me and you didn't value me and you didn't love me appropriately, therefore I am not deserving of being chosen, I'm not valuable, and I'm never going to be loved in the way that I deserve, we're giving all of our power away. And we're basically saying, you get to determine what I'm worth, what I'm deserving of, and what's possible for me. But nobody has that power except for you. But we have a tendency to give it away to other people. And we give it away to other people because we may have been taught from a young age that other people determine our worth. Our parents taught us what we need to be or what we need to do in order to be loved. And if there was conditional love there, or if there were, there was, absence of love or only validation when you were pleasing them or whatever the case was, you might have learned that you need to be different or more than you are, or ultimately prove your worth or your value in order to receive love. So what happens is we get into adult relationships and we start to believe that other people aren't going to see our value unless we work overtime to get them to see that. And what that usually leads to is us being even more severely undervalued, because that rarely ever works. Proving your value, especially in romantic relationships, never ever works. It always leads to things actually becoming a little bit more painful. So I feel like in this connection, because you are incredibly valuable, Gemini, and I think that that's one of the things that you're needing to know, is that this person and their response to all that you showed up with is not a reflection of your actual value. It's a reflection of them and where they're at. I feel like you had certain expectations for this connection, and those expectations just like did not they didn't pan out. And I think that taking a look at what really kind of happened here and breaking it down less from the perspective of like, they didn't choose me, why didn't they choose me, why wasn't I enough, why didn't they love me, why wasn't I enough for them, or whatever the case is. Like that narrative is only going to drive you further into the belief that other people determine your worth and your value, because the reasons to which they didn't treat you appropriately is going to have everything to do with them and nothing to do with you, which we'll see as we jump into their energy. But just like knowing how it all works and how other people behave, their behaviors toward other people, the way they treat other people, the way they speak to other people, it's a reflection of them. It's not a reflection of us. But when we take that personally, we might be showing up in a way that, causes us to be in a position of trying to prove our worth or our value, instead of understanding that it doesn't have anything to do with us. One of the number one ways in which one of the number one signs, of childhood trauma is by trying to get people who don't treat us well to treat us well. By trying to get people who don't choose us, who don't love us or don't value us, to choose us, love us, and value us. And the reason that we do that is because we're looking for some sort of validation that we are lovable, that we are deserving of the love that we desire, and all the things that we already are, but we don't need other people to know that in order for us to be those things. But when we ultimately believe we do, we're going to find ourselves attracting people that make us feel less lovable, less valuable, less deserving. So that's where you often hear that like healthy relationships start with your relationship with yourself, is because if you already know your worth and you know your value, and you meet somebody that doesn't see it or doesn't validate it or doesn't choose you, you won't take it personally, because you're going to say, oh, that's a reflection of you. That's your loss. Instead of saying, oh, there must be something wrong with me, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, Gemini. So let's dive deeper into this person's energy. I feel like this is a different kind of way that these messages are coming out. It's interesting. This person's energy toward you, ignoring the pain with options are kept open. Ooh. These feel specific. See, they got feelings too. Ace of Wands, they have strong feelings too. It's not that they don't. Oh. Eight of Wands in reverse. I don't feel like I'm supposed to take that. Okay. Whoa. The Hangman. Oh, in reverse. Okay. Goodness. And for those of you, there's, Ten of Swords. For those of you who are new to my channel, just because a card comes out a certain way does not mean that's the way it's supposed to be taken. I just kind of intuitively take it how it needs to go based on the context or the energy. I can usually feel, it's like it comes out and it's like, oh, okay, it's this way. The Star, pulling more cards in this reading than I normally do. Three of Wands in reverse, Sun in reverse. Oh my goodness, so many reverse cards here. It's like they're missing a lot. They're missing a lot of what you need almost. Okay. This person, and I could have told you this. Is very driven by ego. Now, and then you have the Six of Swords and the Queen of Swords, which I feel like this is you showing up in their energy. But this person is very driven by ego. Now, our ego is not to be demonized, okay? We all have one, and we all have a tendency to fall into being driven by ego. And if you think that you don't, then that's your ego talking. Our ego's primary goal is survival. It's to keep us alive. And it's not necessarily a bad thing because it's what keeps you from stepping in front of a bus, but it becomes a bad thing when you're not fully aware of the ways in which it controls you. And I feel like specifically with this person, I feel like they're not aware of the ways in which their ego controls them. You know, when somebody struggles to like themselves, to truly believe that they are worthy and deserving and valuable and all the things, they construct an identity, a version of themselves that they believe that they need to be in order to be loved, valued, whatever it is. And that comes from this belief, this deep-seated belief that they are not good enough. So they need to be different or better than they are. And then they seek to validate that ego in order to essentially keep that illusion alive. This is getting really complicated and I don't know why. But specifically, it's coming back to the mirroring because I feel like this person has a lot of really painful past situations that they've dealt with, whether it's betrayal or abandonment or just like trauma that they've never actually really addressed. And that has created a deep-seated fear of intimacy. A deep-seated fear of intimacy. I feel like this person's fear of intimacy is deep. Which means that if you're in this, showing up with so much love and so much, compassion and understanding and empathy, and you're desiring a connection that can meet you at that level, but this person's afraid of that, they're going to do everything they can to not have to meet you there. They're going to push it away. They're going to sabotage. They're even going to ruin it and completely block it out because it's easier for them than having to face those hurts or the fear of those hurts. So I feel like the feelings are definitely there. They're strong for sure. But the reason that there's a lack of commitment or a lack of choosing you or a lack of valuing you or a lack of treating you well is not about you at all. And I know that I said that already, but we're seeing the energy now. They're holding on to the ways in which they've been hurt in the past, and that has become an expectation for them. They expect to be hurt. They expect people to hurt them. They expect people to screw them over. So no matter how good your intentions are, I feel like this person struggles to believe that somebody is going to ever love them, be there for them, care for them, whatever the case is, because of the things that they've experienced and they haven't addressed. And that is why they're very driven by their wounding, like I originally mentioned. Remember, they have ignoring the pain. So the reason that they never commit or deepen their connection to you is because it goes below the surface. The feelings are strong and it pushes them to a deeper level of feeling, to a deeper level of consciousness, and that's something that they don't want. It's something that they're not comfortable with. So they're actively choosing to push it away because that is easier than facing the things that this is pushing them to face. Literally, Sun in reverse with the Three of Wands in reverse. This is playing it safe. This is ego. Their ego is pushing them to play it safe. And a lot of times I'll get questions of like, okay, well then why did somebody move on and give somebody else everything that I ever desired for them? Probably because that connection doesn't push them deeper. Probably because that person allows them to be surface level. I feel like in this connection, you craved more. You desired more, right? You had this surface level friendship connection. You had this kind of surface level connection with this person, but you craved and desired more. And that more that you were desiring was something that this person was afraid of achieving, of reaching. And that has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your value. It has nothing to do with your worth. It has nothing to do with anything you could have done to make them see your value and your worth, because I feel like they actually already did. With this Empress here, I feel like they already saw you as somebody who is incredibly valuable. And I feel like that actually even deepened the fear, because then it was like no longer, not only am I afraid of getting hurt, but I'm afraid of getting hurt by someone who I care about so much. So this person's got issues that they've got to deal with, right? And I feel like you knew that and you understood that and you saw that. But one of the best things that I ever learned on this journey is that other people's issues are not my burden. Just like my issues are not other people's burden. Other people's issues are not my burden. And when I've learned that, the reasons that people are emotionally unavailable, or, people don't like me or don't choose me or don't value me or don't want to be my friend or don't want to be in a relationship with me, like, that's okay. That's okay, because all that's the universe saying is this person isn't meant for you. This isn't the right person for you. But when we struggle or we have our own wounding that makes us feel like we're unlovable or not good enough or whatever the case is, and we're face to face with people who don't choose us or value us, we see that as a challenge. We say, oh, well, you just don't know me yet. You don't see how valuable I am. You don't see how deserving I am. You don't see how lovable I am yet. And then we work our asses off to try to get them to see it, when in reality, it's not that they don't see it. It's that they're freaking afraid of it. And that within itself is their problem, not ours. And that's where we have to learn to separate our value and our worth from how other people treat us, because how other people treat us is not a reflection of our value or our worth. It is absolutely 100% a reflection of their current level of consciousness. Now, at the same time, there's a mirror there, right? If this person is being very, very driven by their wounds and pushing away people who love them well, there's a mirror of you being very driven by your wounds and chasing people or looking for love in people who aren't capable of meeting you on your level. And that's the cycle that needs to be addressed, because if we do not heal the things that which drive us, because before we awaken, before we start a healing journey, before we start a spiritual journey, every human being, we're driven by our wounding. We're driven by our subconscious. And until we become aware of these things and we learn to consciously override these habits and these cycles, we will end up back in the same place, whether it's with the same person or different people over and over and over again. So the reason that Spirit is drawing your attention back to this connection is to try to get you to break out of this cycle, to see what it is that this is pushing you to heal, to see what it is that this is pushing you to see, so that you can stop being attracted to or attracting into your life people who don't know how to love you well and who prove these beliefs that you're unlovable and unvaluable and not deserving, and start attracting people who reflect that you are deserving and are lovable and are valuable, because those people do exist. But I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to dive deeper into all of this. I know this already got deep, but we're going to look even deeper. You have detour with you didn't mean it. We're going to look at the deeper purpose of the connection, and then the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Thank you so much, Gemini, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Gemini.